Barack Obama declares all-out war on Christianity, issuing a dictate that all employers, even Christian and Catholic employers, must include contraception and abortion-inducing drugs in health care coverage. The Catholic Church has said, quote, "We will not comply." I'm Matt Barber, Vice President of Liberty Counsel Action. Joining me in studio today is Ron Miller, Associate Dean with Liberty University's Helms School of Government. And I was blown away when I heard that the Department of Health and Human Services had issued a unilateral and arbitrary, unconstitutional, illegal dictate requiring Christian, Catholic, hospitals, organizations, schools, you name it, to provide health coverage that included, and we know this is just the precursor to full-blown abortion coverage, that included abortion-inducing drugs, abortifacients, contraception, and sterilization services and other things. These are things that are very central to the Christian faith, that they are sins. This is sinful behavior. Now, the Catholic Church adopts certainly the position that all birth control is impermissible as part of the Catholic teachings, but certainly Christianity at large believes that going in and being compelled or forced to provide abortion-inducing drugs is a violation of conscience. Well, the Constitution also happens to protect Christians and the right to freedom of religious expression. This, I have to say, Ron, is the most astounding and gross constitutional violation I have ever seen in violation of the freedom of conscience I have seen in my lifetime, and it comes from the President of the United States. All the gloves have come off. All pretexts are gone. This president is willing to push his agenda to trample the Constitution of the United States to do it, his radical pro-abortion liberal agenda. And I was so pleased to hear the Catholic Church say, we're not going to take it, quote, "We will not comply."
In fact, I think the Catholic Church came to the realization, and it's been something that's been going on for a long time. You look at the impact of decisions at the state and national level that have forced Catholic charities to shut down, that forced them to quit providing adoption services because of this continuous push by the state to try and impose upon them activities which go against their religious beliefs and their freedom of religious expression. And so I think they finally realized, we're not going to take it anymore. We have to stand up and fight, otherwise we are going to be run over. And so I noted that the administration thought that they were being magnanimous when they said, okay, we'll give these religious organizations a
year to comply.
Right. I'm saying, oh, that's very kind of you. And I'm glad to hear the Catholic Church say it doesn't matter if it's a year or 2 years or a decade. We will not comply. And I might add that other religious organizations have witnessed this brave stand on the part of the Catholic Church, and 40 non-Catholic religious organizations, including Protestant and Jewish organizations, have all come together and said, we write not in opposition to Catholic leaders and organizations, we write in solidarity. Leaders of other faiths are also deeply troubled by and opposed to the mandate and the narrow exemption.
This is the textbook instance. This is in the spirit of Martin Luther King Jr. This is the textbook instance of where when a government becomes tyrannical and engages in unconstitutional, illegal oppression of the people that it purports to serve, because let's not forget, we hired Barack Obama as a nation. He serves this nation in his role as president. We are the sovereign. He is not the sovereign, and I think he understands. He may be getting the pink slip come November 2012. He's going to try to ram through as much as he possibly can, and we'll just get rid of all due process, and I'm just going to arbitrarily dictate from my perch that this is going to happen. Well, this is the perfect instance. This is what the Catholic Church here is doing. Kudos to them, and even evangelical organizations and Christian groups and other Protestant entities that are getting behind the Catholic Church and signing on to this. This is exciting. This is good news. Recently, the Catholic Church, they read a letter at a Sunday service at Mass across the nation. And this, in part of what they wrote and said was this, quote, "We will not comply with this unjust law. People of faith cannot be made second-class citizens. We are already joined by our brothers and sisters of all faiths and many others of good will in this important effort to regain our religious freedom. Our parents and our grandparents did not come to these shores to help build America's cities and towns, its infrastructure and institutions, its enterprise and culture, only to have their posterity stripped of their God-given rights." And it goes on and on. This is a fantastic letter that they wrote. I'm hoping that they've called President Obama's bluff here, because what's the alternative now? Are they going to go in and start shutting down Catholic hospitals, start shutting down Catholic schools, start fining them an inordinate amount of money, start throwing priests in prison, pastors in prison, organizers and CEOs of Christian hospitals around the country in prison? They might. I wouldn't be surprised, frankly. The fact that they were willing to do something so brazenly unconstitutional, who's to say that they won't take it to the next step, to the next level, and start rounding up priests and people who refuse to comply with this unconstitutional dictate?
Well, I would like to think that our nation's character and our culture wouldn't permit it, but you and I have seen a lot of things happening over the past few years, and certainly it seems that it's intensifying. And I think that a lot of Americans, hopefully, from this letter being read from the pulpits of these Catholic churches, will understand what's going on. A lot of people who otherwise are disengaged from this battle will wake up, because it's one of those circumstances where if they lose, we all lose. And I think it's important for us to start to realize that it's time for us to take a firm stand. That we are not dealing with a person that's willing to compromise. We're not dealing with somebody who understands the Constitution or understands the very basis of our Declaration of Independence, which is about the dignity and worth of every human being and our freedom to believe and express ourselves as we so choose.
Well said. And earlier in the week, and this has been kind of an ongoing theme throughout the week, you and I were talking about, and you had a very good point. You said, particularly of the left, and I can't do justice to what you said, so I'll ask you to kind of reiterate your point. They have it's our way or the highway approach. You either adopt our position and capitulate to our dictates, or you will be destroyed, essentially, whether it's economically, or in your reputation, whatever. You will be marginalized. Explain what you're talking about there.
Well, our country has always had a live and let live mindset when it came to the free flow of ideas and of speech and expression. In fact, when I was in the armed forces, we used to say to people that we disagreed with, "I don't agree with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it."
Right. Yeah.
And we have taken a turn in this culture to where we no longer will defend the right of alternative views to be held and expressed. The attitude and the actions all say, not only do I not agree with you, but I will not permit you to hold that point of view. I will not permit you to express it. And you see it from discussion boards, from Facebook and Twitter. I saw something just recently where a person who has been outspoken in their views on abortion and the redefinition of marriage was signed up for a group where they were supposed to, where they're going to get hammered.
Yeah.
They literally signed them up without their permission to a group where they're going to get hammered for holding that point of view. That's the kind of thing we're dealing with, and that's the kind of thing we have to push back on.
Well, we've seen it happening around the country. People in school districts, like our case in the Shawano County School District, with the superintendent there using this notion of bullying to silence and dissent on the issues of surrounding homosexuality, for instance. This is a tactic of the left. This is a Saul Alinsky tactic. At Liberty Counsel, we will not be silenced. We know that you listening will not be silenced. Join with us as we demand that our voices be heard. Go to lc.org or give us a call at 1-800-671-1776. Sign up and become part of Liberty Counsel's ministry today. We can all together stand in the gap to protect religious freedom and freedom of speech in this, the greatest nation on earth.